heard news that scouts might be cutting their cymbal line, he was so upset. He was like, especially since they didn't like just come out and announce it.
Yeah, the way that it went about for a lot of people inside the core was not the same for the public viewing. And it's just unfortunate. We're glad we have it back now, but let's hope that situation doesn't ever arise again with any symbol line in this activity at the moment.
What is up, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of the Flip Up Podcast. We know it's been a while, but we're back again. This time with two special guests. We have Brooklyn and Anna, who marched at the will be marching at the Madison Scouts, and they also march at Redline. Also, the founders of Flashpoint.
Yeah, and before we get started, we just want to say that we are going to be uploading a Google Doc or some kind of spreadsheet where you guys can write down what you want to have or who you want to have on the podcast. If you want to be on the podcast, you can just fill this out. We'll take a look at it, see like all the information that you have to share, what you want to say, and hopefully we'll get back to you. But yeah, without further ado, Brooklyn and Anna.
Hey guys, my name is Brooklyn. I play cymbals. I've been in this for a little while now. I marched at Walled Lake Central High School, played cymbals there for 3 years, and then I graduated, marched at Motor City Percussion, and then now currently marching at Redline Percussion Indoor.
All right.
This summer I'll be marching at the Madison Scouts.
Yeah. So my name is Anna. I've been playing cymbals for a hot second too, and in high school I was at this place called Farmington United Percussion Ensemble, and then I went to Genesis Percussion and Redline Percussion, and then for drum corps I did Legends and then Scouts.
Oh yeah, two awesome resumes. I mean, we say this every time, but like the people we have on, it's just always like these long resumes, But awesome, cool. So the first thing I want to talk about with you guys is this establishment of this iconic duo, and this is something actually that just talking about me and Lucas for a sec. Everywhere we basically marched, Lucas and I, it's always been like him and I have always been on the same line together. There's only been one line we haven't been on together, which was Colts 2019. But I feel like also we've been like establishing working together, and I feel like in a way it's been this benefit on the line, just like always having someone that they're always like in sync with. So I'm just curious, like, what are your guys' thoughts on this like iconic duo? Because you guys march together at Redline, but you guys are also marching together at Scouts.
Yeah, I think it's definitely helpful. In terms of like auditioning, just going there and having a friendly face and someone that's familiar there, it really boosts your confidence, makes you feel more calm, that type of deal. But season to season, I mean, Brooklyn and I, we started marching together at Redline in 2019. And like you were saying, that connection just like lasts each season. And I think that helps the line too, having vets and people that just know each other well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Anna and we were previously made aware of each other before we came to Redline. Then once we got there, we pretty quickly formed a bond, and now we're here almost 4 years later, 3 seasons it looks like, and we made the decision to go to Scouts together when they brought their cymbal line back, and that bond that we had together kind of helped us, slide in those spots that we earned, and now we got a pretty powerful duo, kind of dominating the Midwest.
Oh, hell yeah. So you guys said you were aware of each other. What do you mean by that? When did you first learn of each other?
So we both live in the same area. I live about 20 minutes from Anna, and our circuits, we actually compete in the same circuits. So we've bumped shoulders, crossed paths, a number of times in just local activities.
Yeah, I think I was going back through our Facebook messages, and the first message you sent me was after this, we had like this traditional party for like WGI people before state finals. And I happened to be there. It was the year I was marching Genesis, and Brooklyn happened to be there. And at Genesis, we had these jerseys that said flex tape on them, because that was like our thing that year. And Brooklyn messaged me afterwards. He's like, "Hey, I think you had like the best jersey at the party." And I was like, yes. So that was the beginning.
I wanted a flex tape jersey so bad.
Yeah, it's kind of funny hearing how you guys sort of met because, at least from Lucas and I's perspective, we actually went to rival high schools. So for us, it was always like we kind of grew up like, screw his line, you know? But then, like, we both went to GMU, you know? And then, you know, now here we are uh, doing podcasting basically. So, you know, um, and then, you know, just teaching things forward. But I know for us, when we've been marching, I feel like when we were like establishing ourselves as this like kind of duo, like I feel like we also got a lot of inspiration just kind of like watching other lines and like seeing how they kind of like established this duo. Like, there's two people who we marched with at Scouts in 18, both Ben and Connor, who they've marched everywhere together. Like they marched OC together, OC Indoor, Scouts, Mystique,
Mhm.
and yeah, they've just always been together. And I feel like for us, they've kind of inspired us in a way to kind of establish this duo. Did you guys have any inspiration to just establish this duo between you guys?
Best way I can describe it is it formed naturally just through common interests. And I think I'm a rookie when it comes to drum corps. I've never marched drum corps before, and I've had the opportunity to audition with Anna for two very amazing drum corps, and it definitely made that kind of transition easier. Everything I know about, the marching side of things pretty much came from her. And, having that shoulder to, kind of lean on and have someone who understands what you want and can help you along that path definitely, benefits both parties in the long run.
Yeah, absolutely. I'd say like in terms of like comparing ourselves to people or whatever, my tech at Genesis and he's going to be our tech at Scouts is Alex Heisen, or Scoot, you call him. And so him and this guy named Georgie, who's also going to be our tech at Scouts, they were kind of a duo like at X, and they also, marched Scouts together. So after seeing them and their relationship, it kind of makes me reflect back on Brooklyn and I's relationship and how you're right, like exactly what Brooklyn said. It's just very helpful for both of us in the long run.
Yeah, and exactly what Brooklyn was saying though about just it kind of forms naturally. Like we weren't just like, yeah, Lucas, like we're gonna be a duo. I don't care what you say. Like it was nothing like that,
Yeah,
you
it's
know.
like in order to win, we must become a duo. Let's join
Right.
forces.
But I feel like just like it does happen naturally, but it's also like something where like I feel like also like it really does shape based on your guys' friendship and like kind of like with you guys, like you guys have Flashpoint. I feel like you guys share common interests, and then aside from just marching, like it meshes well, and like in terms of me and Lucas, we have this exact same goals, kind of like what you guys were saying, like having those same goals, and then bam, it just meshes well, like I feel like especially like when you kind of have this duo, like it at George Mason, they would never have us both next to each other because we could read each other really well, that we could do it like across the line. So like in 2018, Lucas and I were like next to each other,
Yep.
and we got to a point where like we were just always moving together. You established that, and then at Scouts in 2018, we were next to each other also, moving together. Like it was really weird because you got one guy from X, two people from GMU, and then you got the two people from Mystique. So you have them like the two duo. They're just completely locked because they've been marching together for so many years. And then me and Lucas, we were just so in sync. And then it's just a matter of just combining everything together. But what I liked about when we were at George Mason for following years is they put us all the way at the other ends. And basically what that kind of did is because we were so in sync, I knew exactly like if Lucas was flipping early, if Lucas was flipping late, because we just had that connection, that had been established over that year. And with that bond that goes across the line, everyone else reacts to it. It's like, it's really weird. I don't know how to explain it,
Like
but
two perfect end caps.
yeah.
Yeah, they like
Yeah.
stretched our like connectivity across the line and then hoped that like everyone in the middle would kind of catch our wavelengths.
Make
Yeah,
one
you
big
guys just
circuit.
Yeah. Did you
So,
guys stand next to each other?
um,
no.
I don't think so, but we will be this summer. So
Yeah.
Nice.
that'll be fun.
Good call, Georgie.
I have a question for you guys. How long were you guys marching together?
Since 2018, we pretty much the first time we met was leading up to auditions for GMU in 18. because Jaden messaged me. He's like, "Yo, you want to practice so that we can get good for GMU?" My first thought was, "What the heck? This kid from South County is talking to me." But then we kind of like immediately became friends, and then we marched from Mason. We marched at Mason from 2018 all the way up until the little bootleg season in 2020, and then we did scouts together in 18.
Very nice. A lot of seasons together.
Yeah, it's been fun.
Oh yeah.
That's awesome. And I feel like marching indoor together is one thing, but when you march outdoor together, like I really look forward to what me and Brooklyn are going to be doing this
Oh,
summer.
it's something else.
It's
Yeah.
All the
really
jokes, the inside jokes.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, I really feel like you learn a lot about, just other people. If we're still talking about this iconic duo, like there's there's a lot of things Lucas did not know about me before going.
There's some things I learned after this season too.
Yeah. Yeah. Some good, some not so good, but you do
Some
learn a
things
lot.
happening while I was asleep. It's gonna be fun for you guys. I'm excited to see
Absolutely.
like how you like grow from that.
Been a long time coming. Finally get that opportunity.
Yeah, and it's
Definitely.
good. It's at a great organization. Scouts
of
coming
course.
back. You guys have stacked vets or not vets, stacked techs.
Yeah.
Georgie, Scoot, and
Mason,
Mason. Yeah, like
Parental.
3 techs, and they're like the best of the best. So
Yeah.
it's gonna be an insane summer, even though it's shortened.
All
Yeah.
worth it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I've also marched with Mason back in 2019. He's a super great guy, and then uh, even Georgie, he taught us in 2018. He's super fun, laid back, and has some pretty great advice. In terms of Scoot, I've never actually been taught by Scoot, but I've heard nice things about him. So like
He
you
makes
got.
good hats.
He does make good hats. He's a great graphic designer.
Yes.
Yeah.
I really like his teaching style. He's super cool. I was only with him for 1 year, but I mean, that's still enough time to get to know someone.
Anna, did Scoot make your flex tape jerseys?
No, Garrett Sitco designed them, and we went off of that. Garrett is my friend. We marched at G together, and now he's at Cap City. So.
Got you.
Midwest family over here.
Hell yeah. So I guess like just talking about Madison Scouts, since we've been talking about that, there's a lot of things happening, especially at Scouts. Well, first off, they brought back the cymbal line. Well, actually, I'm gonna leave it to you guys. Like, where you guys like how exciting is it though that like they brought back the cymbal line, and like what's it been like for you guys? Like the whole audition process and everything.
Man, it was when I first started marching drum corps. I looked up to cymbal lines, and Scouts was the one that I wanted to go to. I was like, I'm gonna pull a Mulan. Like, we're gonna get in there. I'm gonna shave my head. I don't care. And then they cut their cymbal line, and I was like, well, no chance of that. And then the same year, they brought back their cymbal line and included females. And I was like, the stars have aligned. Like, this is perfect.
Perfect
I
season.
was incredibly excited.
Well,
Yeah.
then I got to ask you, Anna, what's that kind of been like? Because that's like a really big deal. Especially being one of the first females at Scouts. Like, do you feel like you have like a very big role and responsibility to play?
I mean, kind of. I feel like it's just another season. It's a historic season, definitely, but I feel like we don't really have to prove ourselves. Like, we came in and they weren't like, oh yeah, the females are the other still, kind of. They definitely included us immediately. And so it just feels like any other group, except they hype us up. Pretty much.
Yeah, fun fact about that. Actually, when we went there in 2018, they were already in like the middle of their kind of road to getting females into Scouts, because apparently they've been trying for a while. It's just the whole alumni thing. But it was interesting when we got to Scouts, we were like, oh man, we made it, the all male corps. But then they're already talking like, yeah, we need to get females in here as soon as possible. And then we actually got to see it happen, which is cool.
Yeah, 2019 was definitely a transition year, but it definitely was something that was needed. I mean, when they cut the line in 2019, I remember me and Lucas and Georgie, our plan was all to come back. we had 3 age outs. One of the other people went on to teach Viz, but the original plan was it was me, Lucas, and Georgie. You know, we were gonna go back for our 2019 season, and then I think we got a call from the core director, or I think he just reached Georgie maybe, and then Georgie told us.
I think we just found out in the group chat
Ooh,
that like Jack was like, "Hey, so they might get rid of the symbol line," and we were like, "Oh, I hope they don't."
Yeah, I
Yeah.
remember Prasanna. He marched scouts in so we were marching with him at Redline at the time, and he heard news that scouts might be cutting their symbol line. He was so upset. You know, he was like, especially since they didn't like just come out and announce it.
yeah. The way that it went about for a lot of people inside the core was not the same for the public viewing. And it's just unfortunate. We're glad we have it back now, but let's hope that situation doesn't ever arise again with any symbol line in this activity at the moment.
I mean, they always say one thing like, "Oh, we're so glad to have you guys back," but give them 2 years. We'll see what they say then. Hopefully, they don't cut the line, but
Yeah,
We're building pretty good relationships with them, so
and the one thing that's honestly so exciting, you guys will experience this once the season starts, is that a lot of people, just like Hornline, other staff, like just the nature of symbol lines, like I feel like symbol lines are like one of the most hardest working sections, and you're gonna notice from like other sections and other staff, they notice those things. But it's really cool also to get a lot of love and support. Like when we got cut though, I don't think it was something that was like it was not something where it was like, oh, the symbol line were an issue to the court. I think it just really came down to people didn't know how to work with the symbol line because they were also getting new staff, so they didn't know what to do with the symbol line.
yeah, it was the percussion director. The new percussion director was like, "Yeah, I don't want a symbol line."
Allegedly,
they got rid of that dude. And then, allegedly.
now we're back.
Yeah,
I've always
down to staff.
before I was actually a contracted member of the Madison Symbol Line, I've always heard the stories of how hard they worked. Like the example they set for the core, like back when I was in high school, that they brought their symbol line back in our traditional time frame, and they existed for a while. And I always looked up to them. I never thought I would actually be a part of that line. And now that my marching career progressed and got out there, exposed myself to the DCI community, I was able to kind of understand why they work so hard, what kind of effort they put in. Because Anna and I, we do that at Redline and inside during the winter. And it was a great way to transition, to the summer, because for cymbals, we want to throw down, and the only way to do that is get good, because that's something you can just snap your fingers and have ready by the end of the year.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The one thing though, I will say though, and it really sucks, but like it's also a blessing in disguise for you guys, is like when they cut the line, it was like the whole legacy that dates back to 2015. I mean, even like the whole legacy, I'd even say, of just the core having a symbol line in general, because they got rid of the line. I want to say 2008. I can't remember, Lucas, but they brought it back in 2015. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So it was something like that. But like it was like you have this gap of like we came in like to kind of like carry the role of this legacy, and then the legacy dies. But where it really works in your guys' favor also is that now you guys get to start and create the foundation for this new legacy, which is awesome,
Yeah, this is like year Scouts 15 when they came back and all they were thinking about was we need to bring back the legacy. So they worked insanely hard and had such an incredible line because they had to prove so much. Like this is year Scouts 15, which is pretty epic.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm
Great way to put
excited because like we're already looking towards the season and working pretty hard. I mean, the Mad University thing, we're in classes like every single week. We're doing lessons every single week, video assignments. Like we're really ramping up for the season, and like the symbol line especially is talking outside of it. We're already talking about our goals and like moving in a little early. It's really exciting.
Oh yeah, the early move-ins.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, the season starts yesterday, not June 1st. A good way to put it.
Yeah. Actually, that kind of leads me into my next point. What have you guys been up to for like the last year? Because I know it was like you guys auditioned in 2020, COVID hit, and it's like, all right, well now what? Like, what have you guys been doing to prepare for the 2020? Yeah, we're 21, right?
Yeah.
21.
21 or
Yeah.
22? Yeah,
You
20,
can call it
21.
21.
Yeah, what have you guys been doing to prepare for the 2021 season?
Well, so like I mentioned, we've got like classes. So we've got leadership, we have visual sectionals, percussional, percussion sectionals, a variety of other things. They provide a lot of opportunities like choreography, guard, visual design, like writing drill, that type of stuff. So we take a number of those, and in addition, we have private lessons with either Scoot, Georgie, or Mason every week, and that has lasted. And there's some more stuff we do, but that's lasted since the summer was canceled. They pretty much planned it out, and they were like, "Guys, here's a plan. Here's what we're gonna do," and they've stuck to it. Brooklyn, do you have anything to add to that?
Yeah, when it originally happened, they were like, "We're gonna instruct you virtually," because there was still a chance that the summer would come back at one point. Obviously, that did not happen. And here we are today, almost a year later. They ended up segmenting it into 3 semesters, basically. So we did a good chunk of a couple months, and then we got a little bit break. Then we're back again for another semester. That was through the winter, and then now we're here to the one that's leading up to our spring training move-in dates. So it's been a lot of work, but it's definitely worth it. Those who stuck around have stuck around. The cymbal line has kind of changed form since we originally debuted it for the 2020 season. We're still looking to bring that same type of energy, but we're excited, and we got some fresh faces, great ideas, and an awesome 2021 show that we can't wait to show everyone.
Yeah, I think the thing that Mad U has definitely done is shown who is the most committed to the core. And like a lot of people have just said no because they didn't want to do the work. And everyone who's in is dedicated. They are ready to put in the hard work, and we're ready to just hit the ground running in July. So,
That is
Yeah,
insane.
for
Like,
me, it was kind of a no-brainer to jump on board. I'm 22. I'm aging out. This is my only opportunity to march drum corps. So it was either I'm gonna do this, or I'm just gonna look back years from now and realize that I made the wrong mistake or made the wrong decision to do that. So I'm definitely excited, to have been part of that and to continue pushing along, the other members of the cymbal line, encourage them. Hey, let's stick around. The season's going to be short, but it's going to be worth it.
Hell
I
yeah.
mean, I think you guys are probably doing more work than some other groups for full seasons. The fact that you've been doing all of this, the private lessons, and like doing that every single week for a whole year, that's insane.
Yeah, and I know for me, from my standpoint, like, what was it like, been doing DCI for 2 years, then COVID hit. For me, it was just kind of like, it was like, I don't know. For me, it was just, things kind of just died off, but also like, from Colt's perspective, like, we had options to do things, but it was also like very kind of weird because also, like, as you get older throughout the activity, things become more uncertain, right? Because at least from Lucas and I's standpoint, like, we both go to school, so having the accessibility of knowing if it'll work out in the long term, it becomes more difficult. Like even this year, like, we were gonna march last year, had COVID not happened, and then COVID happened, and then here we are, not marching at this point. But um, going off of the whole Mad U thing, though, what I admire a lot about Scouts is their push and drive to just keep things going. Like, I think there's only like a few corps out there that were doing like weekly things. Like, I think another corps was cadets. I think was one of them. Don't quote me,
I
but
can see it.
yeah. But only so many cores, were really just driving this like weekly process. Like, I know some cores, were just like, hey, we need money. Like, let's just throw something out there, which is not the majority of the case. But, I think, especially what Scouts did, like, I think they really did make the right decisions of what they did to set themselves up for the season. So
Yeah, they're not just setting themselves up for this season. I think going forward, they're going to plan on doing a Mad U type of program leading up to every season in the
Interesting.
future, which gives a lot more opportunity for students, learn what DCI is like. Because had this existed years ago for me, I would have probably been able to get my foot in the door a little bit sooner. But like, their outlook on the future is so bright, and it's very exciting to kind of be the front runners for that.
I
definitely.
mean, you guys probably know this now, but you're going to learn it a lot more over the course of the season. It's a great organization.
Definitely. And their food's great. What were they,
Oh,
Oh
Lucas?
yeah,
Bosco sticks?
the Bosco sticks, man. When you wake up in the morning and you got the muffin tray with the sausages, I swear. Ooh,
dude, literally first weekend, it felt like family already. And
Hmm.
I mean, just the administration there and yes, the food, incredible. I loved it. So I'm really looking forward to that specifically.
Hell yeah.
and the alumni too, especially for the cymbal line.
Oh yeah, we've what something that surprised me is we all talk about the 2015 Scout symbol line. When we announced we were coming back, there were vets from the 2000s days
Mm-hmm.
that had reached out to us and showed their support. And they often get overlooked because DCI is becoming such a like a young activity. It's very short memory. We often forget that like the 2000s up to like 2008, 2009 had a Madison symbol line, and we want to be able to kind of show off that type of talent. We have plans to kind of throw it back and really show what the Scouts has all been about all this time.
Yeah, I think weren't they the inventors of the pistol grip? Was that something that they said, Jaden? I
I
think that
don't
was
know.
something they did invent some grip.
Dude,
They did
The
people.
some cool
OG Scout symbol
stuff.
line, they did.
Yeah. I mean, especially with where the activity is now, someone will do a juggle and they'll be like, "Yeah, I invented I don't know, some whack name." But
The
then you
Mamma
go over to
Jamma.
this other ensemble and they're like, "Yeah, we came up with this juggle, but it's like the exact same thing, just two different names." So you
Yeah,
really don't know anymore. I
yeah.
think the only things that are really set in stone are like the more technique based things. So maybe yeah, it could have been, but awesome, cool. So I guess segueing to our next topic now, we want to talk about your guys' Redline production this year. Now, your guys' Redline production, I think, was the complete right decision to set just like cymbal playing alone, like in the right direction. Like you guys, if I'm correct, you guys did a production with like the full ensemble, but then you guys had your own production, which was called Slow Dancing in the Park, if I'm right. But like I watched that and I was just like, this was like the smartest thing. Like I don't know why other groups didn't just do this for like individual sections, let alone cymbals, because you guys had all these cool visuals, you guys were playing, you guys had this story, there's this whole theatrical atmosphere. What was it like putting this whole production together?
There's
It
a
was
lot.
awesome. It was a lot of work, but it was awesome.
Yeah. So we originally, so they were gonna do this showcase. WGI was gonna do a showcase for small ensembles through flow marching, and we had been planning for that. And so we were like, let's do it. Why not? So we came up with the idea. We had to first pick a song, and then we wrote the music, and we started staging everything out, and then um, turns out something happened and the small ensemble thing didn't exist anymore, and we were like, oh, so we don't have to
As
adhere to
always.
any rules anymore. So we just kind of went wild with it and like had transitions and editing and just a bunch of different stuff like that. So
Yeah. When we originally started, we were confined to a very small box of what we could do inside of our realm of creativity. And um, I think we made the decision before the small ensemble thing went away to, kind of see what it would be like to do some different things. And then, obviously it worked in our favor. We were able to, branch out and do different things that, groups wouldn't have been able to do, submitting a video to be, judged and recorded. So it gave us a lot of freedom. It was a lot of work. We met like once a week, like 8 o'clock to like 11:30, 12 p.m., recording, shooting, writing stuff, pathing out things in the hallway. Um, Fun fact, that ending, how we ended it, was actually supposed to be in a different, completely complete part of the school. And we just had to figure out a way, how do we keep this story going this direction? And it was a lot of working with what worked, what didn't work, how we can adapt to the situation we were given.
Yeah, we originally wanted to fall into the pool at the end.
Is that a pool there?
Yeah, there was a
Yeah, it's
pool.
so the slow dancing in the park thing, it's the song we use is slow dancing in the dark. And so it's a play on words. Park is Plymouth Arts and Recreational
Center.
Center.
Yeah.
And it's basically an old middle school that has been transformed into like basically a YMCA. So they've got all the things a school would have. They've got like a pool, theater. They've got like a different annex gym in addition to a regular gym. So number one, it's a really great way to like place to rehearse. But number two is it's a really old building and it has kind of a creepy vibe. So that actually is what inspired us to do something more dark and creepy in that way. Is just the way the building is because we wanted to use our environment to our advantage, basically.
Interesting.
I'm just now thinking about this. This is basically like an I&E, if you think about
Yeah.
it, Lucas.
That's
Yeah,
literally
that's
what we
what I
Started
was
out
thinking,
as an INE.
every time
there's-
in the chat we'd be like, yeah, so what are we gonna do for the INE? And it's like it's not an INE, but
INEs are always cursed. That's
Right.
why they couldn't like. But I mean, I think what's the coolest about this is the fact that if I were to tell someone I play cymbals, I'd have to be like, oh, well, here's the lot video. It's kind of like us just playing a show in place, but here's the actual show, and there's me. I'm really tiny in the back. But this is like cymbal playing in the most perfect form, where it's like a video with all the movement and choreography, while also you get to do the tricks, and while playing sounds to music that you can choose. This is like the perfect way to show someone how cool cymbals can be.
yeah, I agree.
Yeah, the coolest thing about the slow dancing in the park that we did, it was all our creative talent put together. We wrote it, we directed it. We had all the input that we wanted for it. Where opposed to our regular season plans, our video Dreamland that we put out, it was directed by our creative director, and we had set strict filming dates and music that was provided for us. So it was our way to kind of think outside the box this year and kind of mentally reset ourselves.
Yeah, and it was just a lot of fun. I mean, the whole reason we did band this year was for ourselves. There was no competitive aspects, like we didn't compete in WGI or anything. And this, on top of that, there was no competitive aspect. We weren't competing. We just wanted to get together and have fun and play cymbals. And that's what we got to do. And I'm really grateful for that.
Definitely. I'm just curious, who's your guys' tech right now?
Ashley Miller. She marched Redline and then Colts back in. Do you remember what year she marched Colts?
Yeah.
The year a shot rang out, I think it was 2016.
I think it was 15 she marched.
Yeah,
if I'm correct.
with our old cymbal tech, Amber McCausland.
Mm-hmm.
Hell yeah. Yeah, I mean, honestly, I wish we had something like that at GMU, Lucas. Like, I mean, I also feel like we could have, but also like we also had like the kind of opposite perspective where it was like we could have done a lot more, but also like all of us were like in different locations, like here's Lucas at George Mason, here's me. I'm like 4 hours away because I go to school at Virginia Tech. Then you have Carly, who's at James Madison, who Carly actually is marching with Anna and Brooklyn, just for context, whoever's watching the podcast. Yeah, at Scouts. And then, yeah, everyone was basically just all different parts of Virginia. Yeah, I mean, everyone was in Virginia. So, like, logistically, it was just like, it just wouldn't have worked out. Like, I know for George Mason, we tried to do something in person, and then it just transformed into something that was just all virtual. So it was like a music video-esque type video. So
yeah, I saw what you guys were doing. I really liked it. Like, especially for the constraints that you had. Like, it was kind of like virtual drum corps on the
Indoor.
Yeah, drumline.
Yeah, I have a lot of respect for all the groups who decided to provide an opportunity for kids this season. A lot of people didn't, and some were left hanging. We were fortunate enough that our cymbal line was very local. Actually, matter of fact, pretty much our entire group was local, and we were able to meet up consistently and, do things outside of our scheduled rehearsal times because we would just hit each other up and be like, hey, you want to go rehearse tomorrow night? And then it would be very easy, kind of fill that in. Years past, especially with constraints to a competitive season, you can't really do that. You didn't really have the opportunity to do something that's not your show, basically.
Yeah. Like, oh, sorry, you go.
No, you're good.
I was just going off of what Brooklyn said. It's everything kind of worked in our favor, especially with things being local, and we were just pretty lucky that this season happened to be the way it was.
Yeah. And the thing I was going to say, like, you guys, like, especially if you guys are all local, like, that's awesome because in a way you guys also kind of get to keep this, like, natural environment of the activity. Just, you guys have masks on. But then, like, for other people, like, I feel like this easily, Lucas and I can relate, like, because everything was all virtual for, like, the past year, like for us it was kind of like, all right, we're slowly starting to check out because it's like, there's only so much you can do when it's virtual, like it's just not the same experience. Like I like to think that 2020 or like, yeah, our like last performance honestly was, I consider the last time I really played cymbal playing, because like you do the virtual thing, but I feel like also like it's just not the same, because you miss those connections, especially being around the people. I mean, sure, you can like film together in the same place, but like it's just not the same. Like everyone, like honestly, best way to put it, just everyone flipping up together on 5. It's a staple.
All you need. Sometimes you just gotta flip up on 5.
Right.
Yeah.
But I mean, to be totally honest, I think the second I heard that Colts was canceled, I immediately aged out. I was like, all right, that was my chance. I'm
done.
I'm
Hanging them up.
I had my years. I'm like, I'm just gonna chill, because, I mean, like Jane was saying, when you're all together, not only do you work harder, it's just way more fun. And I think I was missing a lot of the personal aspect of getting to see, like, getting to hang out with your buds, cracking jokes, and also like working hard together, rather than like doing video assignments every single week alone in your basement trying to crash while there's people upstairs and they're yelling at you. Like, it's just not as fun.
Those things that become monotonous.
Yeah.
Often necessary, but very monotonous.
Yeah, and if I were just starting out, I totally would have pushed through. I would have been like, I need to do this. This is my dream. I need to like get really good in this activity. But I just thought to myself, like, I had my years. I'm done.
Yeah. And I mean, it goes off of that point, like you do this activity to like innovate the instrument, but also like a big part of why we do this also is just the people we're with. The best way I always put it is like your friends and the people you meet in this activity honestly are your greatest strengths, other than just yourself obviously, but like it really does, like you do this for the people, which you do it to innovate the instrument and continue to inspire and push it, but without that element of other people around you, and having those connections, it really does make it worth it, everything. So
Goes right back to that duo conversation we had.
The iconic duos.
Iconic duos.
Exactly. See, these podcasts always just come full circle, honestly.
Right?
Okay, so I'm actually going to edit this out, but my computer for some reason was like not plugged in.
Wait, hold up. What do you mean not plugged in?
Are you about to die?
Oh, charger.
All right, make sure we save the recording, guys.
I'm just going to plug in my own computer right now.
We're just going to make sure my PC's plugged in. Hold on. Oh, we're good.
Goes black.
We're good.
Lucas, that is so bad. Like it's plugged in. I don't know.
What percent?
Check your wall charger. Check the little thing that plugs into the box.
Yeah, it's at 12%. Dude, I don't know why it's not charging.
Yeah,
probably wrapping that time.
Oh my god. Dude, thank God I caught this, because if I didn't catch this...
Turn your surge protector on. Sorry, I went to school for IT. It's
like I know about electronics.
Dude, I think my charger's broken. What the hell?
Wait, really?
Yeah, I don't know why.
Is it a Mac charger?
Yeah.
Sometimes you just gotta like wiggle it, you know.
Dude, I'm wiggling.
Wiggle harder.